Alrighty, Mr. Gatekeeper here. We got a Texas Star Killer Bee DX250 iDrive, and I do a couple things of this, Mr. Hobo. It came with two 2879s in it, which you were right. They were good. They did not match at all. One was a dot and one was a non-dot. So I talked to you through text, I think, about that. If you were wanting to keep this a Killer Bee, or you want to turn it into a 350 iDrive or whatever, but we kept it a Killer Bee. To turn it into a 350 iDrive, we'd have to change the wraps, just change a good bit of stuff in here to do that. You said do whatever's easiest. You just want to get this bad boy fixed for a friend of yours, I believe. First issue was the SO2. Good thing I don't leave my amps on while I'm sitting here. Anyway, first thing is the SO239 was damaged. As you can see, the center connector was coming out like that. So I went ahead and just replaced both the SO239s with two new ones, as you can see right there. I'm not the biggest fan how all the Killer Bees, they use this wire right here to bring in the RF onto the board, and also the variable. Just by habit, I always take them out and replace them with a little bit of thicker wire. There really ain't no performance or anything there. It's just something I do by preference. It makes me feel better. So that's all the wire right there that came out. Next issue I want to talk about is this right here, and I have seen this happen time and time again. These plugs. I am not a big fan of these plugs at all. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them at all for using them. I'm not saying that. I'm just not a big fan of them. And this is one of the reasons right here. Now, if you went by the color code on this one, you're going to hook this amp up backwards, which may have happened at one point in time on this box. It may have. I don't know. I can't say 100%. There's no way for me to know that. It's just always a possibility by looking at this. And I thought the button diode was blown to begin with. It's a little weak. Diodes can be halfway, not blown. I'll put it this way right here. This diode is supposed to be able to turn on around about 0.6 volts or so. And I could tell just by testing it that something, the diode's not blown, but it isn't turning on at the same voltage as most of the button diodes that they use. So just to be safe, I just removed it and put a diode that I normally use, a 3 amp diode in there, which is completely adequate, just to be safe. Sometimes it's better just to replace a part if you're not completely sure about it. But as you see, man, somebody could easily hook that up wrong. You see what I'm saying? Because this right here is actually your negative, see? Negative. The black is your positive. Positive. And I know a guy not too long ago that got his amp back from someone and hooked it up backwards, just like this right here. Luckily, he popped the fuse when he done it, but some boxes don't have fuses in them, especially your bigger amps. I just wanted to point that out real quick. Alright. This right here is the wrong value that was on the input transformer, which you had the right cap in the bag that you sent me, so I put that back on there. If you go by the schematic for this box, which I like to do with Texas Stars, which I know other variations do work, the cap that was on the output transformer was the wrong value. So I pretty much replaced that with the right value that the schematic calls for this particular amplifier. Texas Star does use a lot of different variations. You can see 4 or 5 different ways they make their 2 transistor amps. It's amazing the way they like. It's just almost like they're doing it for fun. Different wrap configurations. They're playing around with different styles and everything throughout the years. So went ahead and put the right part in for that and that. I replaced this little box cap right here. I don't know exactly the proper name for these old caps. Replaced that with a newer cap right there. Put you a matching set of 2290s in, non-dots. Non-dot Toshiba 2290s. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. These bad boys right here are beautiful condition too. Like I told you, I've got a couple set of 2290s left. These are used, but they're in great shape. Great shape. Alright, went ahead and soldered all the pins right here on the switches like I always do, just to make sure there ain't no issues in the future with that. It's just stuff that I always do with every. The input and the output cap were the wrong values. I think somebody had attempted to tune it. I think this 120 possibly came on the input. You'll notice that with Texas Stars, even though you're following schematics on CB Tricks, etc., you will notice, especially on the older amplifiers as these, the input and output caps will vary. Because Texas Star, you know, they actually had different tolerances with different things, so at times they did have to adjust the input and output tune of the amplifiers. So you will see they will vary. So sometimes you have to get in there and tune it yourself, which I had to do for this box right here. So I had to put me a trimmer on the input and the output and retune the whole box myself. So, you know, it tuned out on the output a little lower than normal than it would have called from the schematics. It tuned out around 93 picofarad, I believe it was, and the input tuned out around 178. See, I think the input calls for, heck, I can't remember now. I know the output, I think, calls for like a 130 or a 110. I can't remember off the top of my head, but anyway, we got it tuned out for you. It was sticking in oscillation a little bit, and I fixed that issue. So it's ready to go now, bud. The meter on it right here, it's a little old, you know, it's not moving a whole lot. That could be adjusted if you ever wanted to by this resistor right here. But, you know, it's moving. It just ain't slapping the wall or anything. Alright, man, so let's go ahead and turn this thing on and let you see it in operation real quick. I got the bench radio hooked up, 4 watts RMS, 4 watts RMS, which peaks about 18 to 20 watts peak, as usual. You just got it on high. The way these boxes go, this is medium, and it also enables the variable, so you get full control. This is your low drive version, your low drive mode. Once you press this out, this disables this and turns it to the high drive mode. Or I preferably like to say the medium drive mode, because these are 2290s. I wouldn't consider them high drive. Alright, RMS 1000 watt slug. We are on 15.2. Let me turn that down a little bit. That'll be good. About 14.3. That'll be good right there. Alright. 1000 watt slug. Right there, about 80 watts RMS peak. Right there, almost about 225, 250 watts peak. About 220. You turn that voltage up just a bit more, you'll get you 250. I'm sorry, I was testing on like 15 volts or whatever, but you bump your voltage up. Let me show you here, which is perfectly safe, running at about right there, 14.8. Oh, so there's 250 watts. So you're getting what's advertised on the front at that point, 250 watts peak with a 4-watt radio. All right. Let's hook up the hot radio. We'll put a little bit more drive in it, just see what she's going to do. All right, we're just going to double our input drive, RMS. We're going to double our plug-in. Sometimes in new connectors, boy, you got to push them in a little bit. All right. So we'll turn on the hot radio. All right, we're going to be going from 4 watts to 8 watts RMS now, so we're just doubling our drive. The box can handle it. All right, we'll just leave it on 14.9. That'll be fine. RMS, right there about 130, 140. Peak, right there about 250. You really didn't increase much on the peak. All right, well, that's just working like a moderate Texas Star 250. Put it on a little bit better power supply to it'll increase it'll increase a little bit in performance. You want me to show you just for the fun of it? I usually don't hook up 2 pills on the unrigged supply over there on the medium tap, but just for the fun of it, let's see what this bad boy will do when you put it on a little bit more voltage, not too much more, but let that jugger have as much current as it wants. 1 second. So this right here is dropping to like right there at 15 volts, a little bit above. And as you see, you know, you gain just a little bit more, not too much. You'll probably get about 300 watts out of it now. Ooh, yep, right there at 300. Peak, ooh, 150 on the RMS. So there you go. The old Killer Bees, they're not real output monsters like you'll see some of the Texas Star 250s, regular 250s. They'll sometimes, just the way they're designed, they're a little different design than these are. This is more of an older school design Texas Star has. You'll notice that some of the 250s you might get a little bit more out of them. But when it comes to actual dB gain, you're not really going to have any noticeable difference on the other end. So we got this bad boy repaired for you, bud. So off to the next. Thanks for being patient with me, Mr. Hobo. We'll check you later, my man. 73's Gatekeeper said it. Bye-bye.